We're live. Hey, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
It's still okay to say that.
Yes, it is. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you did say New Year's, didn't you?
It is New Year. I apologize for all my aficionados in regards to speech. You are absolutely correct. It is Happy New Year.
I missed it the moment left. So
when you say New Year's, you're talking about every New Year thereafter.
Yeah, so that's what you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about 2019. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Damion. We're chiming in here. Got my girl Jackie here.
I was gonna say it's just your boy Damion.
No, see, we starting out 2019 wrong already.
Just saying.
Here on the couch with my girl Jackie.
I'm happy to be back.
Thank you. I'm glad we're here too, and we're gonna have some fun this whole season. Like, we're just gonna keep it going.
Yes.
Like, from season 1, we're gonna keep it going to season 2, make it bigger and better.
Oh, I got
hey Tasha, how's everything? So, again, welcome to the couch for all my new people, where we discuss everything mental health. This is a place where your mental health matters, and we're going to talk about it. So, well, it's kind of backwards right now.
It says, can we talk?
But can we talk?
Can you stand up a little so they can see that?
Yes, I gotta.
So this shirt is available on the website now, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you can find it at www.thecouch704.com.
Absolutely, absolutely. So check it out. You know, it's something else that we're doing for the platform, for the brand. You know, promoting the couch out here, raising mental health awareness out here in the community. So that's just one part of what we're doing nowadays to do that. So, again, welcome you guys. I'm just full of love. She told me that I'm kind of like Diddy when he said, when he was gonna be Brother Love. That's me. I'm just on my love thing, and I'm just loving it right now.
So
I'm just in a good space. My sister said your curls are popping.
Oh, thank you, girl, and I appreciate that. That's what I was going for. I told Damion every Wednesday, because I know we're gonna do the show, I like try to leave work. Wait, my boss is friends with me on Facebook. Never mind. But anyway, I try to get my hair together. Before I incriminate myself. I try to leave early every Wednesday so I can give my hair to. He knows. Jasper knows. It's okay. I get my work done now.
Yes, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Yes, I want to make my announcement. So for those who are unaware, I am an alumna of the wonderful Bennett College for Women. I need applause.
Okay. Yes, this is something new. We're trying it out.
We have sound effects now. Okay, thank you. So get your stuff ready.
Okay.
So in that, there is a lot of awareness being brought to Bennett College right now due to the fact that the school may be potentially closing. And we need to raise, I think it's $5 million more by February. So if you Bennett Bells and alumni or HBCU grads out there have a special place in your heart for HBCUs, especially those who have been pivotal for helping women to gain education, rights, speak up for civil rights. Bennett was a college that spoke up for civil rights at the beginning of the civil rights movement. And if you're someone who is into representing something like that or supporting a cause like that, please donate to Bennett College. Okay? So I think where you can do that, there should be something. There's a hashtag of Stand with Bennett College, and then you can donate through Cash App, and it's the money sign Stand with Bennett, or you can text to give money. So it's, if you text BLLES, that's Bells, 444-999. So if you go to your text messages and you put in Bells, like Bennett Bell, BELLES, 444-999, you can donate. So awesome. All this month I will be repping the royal blue and white in efforts to bring awareness to this cause for my dear alma mater, which has formed me into such a wonderfully outspoken...
The person that we see today. Credit to Bennett College, you guys.
That part.
Yes, absolutely.
Applause.
But definitely make sure you guys check it out.
Damion, my applause.
We're not even going to go there. But yes, applause. I'm slipping.
Wait, I have a... Okay.
We got the applause for Bennett. Applause, everybody, for Bennett. There
all
you go.
right. Thank you. That's all I needed. Okay.
That's all you needed? Okay.
Yes.
So we're good to go. So make sure you guys
donate to Bennett College.
Donate. We got to keep our colleges and our higher education, universities and academia and all these other words that I want to say right now. We got to keep that flourishing.
Well, and we're losing historically black colleges. I don't know if people know. Yeah. I think there was 103 and now there's 101. We're losing some.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Accreditations are being lost all over the place. So we want to make sure we stick together.
So make sure we give back to our alma maters. Definitely South Carolina State in the building. That's how we're going to do that. Since you want to promote Bennett, we're going to promote South Carolina State.
I'm promoting it because it's closing.
Yeah, and South Carolina State right now.
Something.
We ain't always been. Oh, you want to slap me now?
That's
what we're doing?
It's not a bitch slap. It's a punch.
It sounded like a slap. That's what we want to go with. So, okay, moving on. So definitely, again, Bennett College, of course. Hey, everyone. Thank you for chiming in. All my family, all my friends. I love you guys. I'm going to say that every week. I love you guys, regardless of the topic. But
I love my family and my friends, too.
Absolutely.
Wait, let me...
So again, like we discussed on the platform, there's some changes, and before we get into the topic, our hot topic for today, we're definitely going to discuss some changes. One thing, first things first, make sure you like and share this video feed, because at the end of our show, it will not be available via Facebook.
Right. You will no longer be able to watch this replay over and over again on Facebook.
Right. Even though y'all like to see our lovely faces, we don't want to continuously post it on Facebook. And so make sure you guys are checking out the website, thecouch704.com. Every week, this particular episode will be on the website 2 days after it's broadcasted live. So make sure you guys check that out every Friday. If you missed anything from this particular episode, don't worry, you'll be able to go back and check it out on Friday, all right? Also, the links for all of our previous episodes are also located on the website as well. On YouTube, where you can search the Couch 704 from last season to this season. And I am very excited, not only just because I'm in a good space, but because this season is going to be kind of live. We're going to have some dynamic guests on. We're going to be our same old crazy, kooky selves. We're going to have fun in here, but we want to make sure that everyone is learning something from each episode. And yes, Tanya, it will be available later. It will be.
It'll be available later, just not on Facebook.
Just not on Facebook.
Through the website.
Yes, on the website. Thank you. Also, we're starting another part of the couch, and it is. I wish I had the drum roll. But I don't have it right this second.
Damn it, Damion.
Damn it. We got to get our ish together right now. This is the first episode of season 2. We got to get it together, Jackie. But what I wanted to say is the new part of the couch is called Ask Jackie.
Bing!
Oh my goodness. She just don't know what to do with herself, and that's what we're going to do. Ask Jackie. So with Ask Jackie, what's that going to entail? You let the people know. I don't talk enough.
Okay, so Ask Jackie is just going to be my spill. Basically, we've been getting questions and concerns and just issues people might be having, and you're going to be able to send that straight to the website, and then I will respond to it at the end of each show, right?
Yes.
It's just going to be the last few minutes at the end of the show, or if we receive enough of them throughout the week, I'll do some Jackie Says on the Couch page during the week. So I'll just give my spill, personal and professional, on certain topics, and that'll be it. Just another way, an avenue to give more information in a concise format.
Absolutely. And you guys know Jackie goes on her rant. She don't want to call it a rant, but I call it a rant. So
okay, let me fix
definitely, when something is near and dear to her heart and she's very passionate about it, she goes 110% sometimes.
So Damion feels like this needs to be my own part of the show.
Yeah, this is
okay, and I'm with it.
Just going to let you have that part.
Some of us don't back down to the spotlight.
So,
some of us don't.
Okay, so Ask Jackie, that's new and improved.
Touch this.
I've given her a new toy, you guys. Like this little mobile soundboard thing. She's loving it right now. We've been in here for probably about a good 30 minutes just playing with the soundboard. It's crazy. It's funny.
Fun is important, okay?
Yes, laughter is fun.
All right, especially in the midst of serious situations. Please remember.
Yes, absolutely. And we're definitely going to dive into those things. Also, a few more things. Definitely check out the website. I said that before, but also check out the online store. As you can see, I got one of our t-shirts here, our apparel. Can We Talk? We have Your Mental Health Matters. We have t-shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, hoodies. You know, all different types of things.
I wish I could hold them up. The thing, I feel like I should be doing so. It's like some kind of Vanna White thing.
No.
T-shirts.
We're okay.
Hats. Hoodies.
Oh my goodness. Hey, this is what we're doing all 2019, all season 2. It's a lot of laughs. We need more laughter out here in this world. You know.
Okay.
That definitely reduces depression, anxiety. Just laugh.
Yeah, especially before we get into this topic.
Yes, absolutely. And also, one last thing before we really dive into it. If you have any small businesses or you like what we're doing here on the couch and you like to sponsor us, we're like those, you know, those commercials with the little sad kids or sad puppies with the music and everything. If you like what you're seeing, please donate. You know, 35 cents a day will go a long way. You know, for the couch, okay? Just kidding, but definitely there is an opportunity for sponsorship.
On the commercial.
but definitely, if you want to market, you know, your small business or your brand, definitely get in contact with us, and we'll definitely promote that on our show, whether it's on the live feed as well as the radio broadcast, commercials, 15-second, 30-second, 60-second. However you want to do that, just get with us and we'll make sure that happens for you guys. All right? Again, like and share. Please like and share. Check all of our platforms, Facebook, of course, Instagram, you know, YouTube. And we've also started a LinkedIn page. I don't necessarily know how LinkedIn really goes, but we're on there as well,
too. Why is it every episode I find out about something new that we have going on?
I'm always expanding.
Okay.
Always expanding
all right.
the brand,
well, let's get into it because we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover. So like I said as a topic on our previous post as well as earlier today, we're talking about
hair problems.
It's kind of a hot topic. It's always been around.
It's always been around.
As long as I can remember, but
it's a hot topic now.
It's very hot right now. We wanted to kind of discuss that in our perspectives, not necessarily on the topic at hand as far as the hot topic, but the issues surrounding that topic, and we're talking about sexual abuse and pedophilia. Okay. First things first, kind of, I guess maybe shedding some light on what pedophilia is. For most people that don't know, that's the attraction that an adult has on a younger child.
On a child. And when we say child, we mean underage. So under legal age, that's where it starts, okay?
Yes.
So let's define, because some people are not sure what you mean when you say teenager.
Right.
Those people we shall remain nameless right now. We are defining a child is an underage individual under legal age.
How young?
He said, how young? I was a little baffled by that and somewhat turned off to the whole interview. After hearing, I actually turned it all off after that. But anyway, all right, Damion, well, let's get into it.
Yes. So, okay. So, hot topic, of course, the R. Kelly allegations, you know, and the response to the docuseries. Of course, I mean, I've known like 20 plus years since he's been kind of dealing, or there's been reports of him dealing with a 14-year-old by the name of Aaliyah.
Yes.
So.
And I have known for the same period of time, I mean, we discussed this a few times previous to the show, but I have known since that was going on. I have known since I was in high school. I did attend Kenwood Academy, where I was in classes towards the end of the day, and announcements weren't made in the school, but you heard commotion outside and you heard people talking in the hallways that he was at the school. So just for those who really don't understand, when random people on Facebook who are from Chicago are talking about the fact that he was at the schools, they remember when he was at the schools, he wasn't performing inside the school, and he wasn't just walking by. He was parking a car in front of the school or in back of the school, getting out and just chilling, or standing out with his arm on the car and waiting kind of to be approached. It was like that Pied Piper thing. Wow. So I never saw him walk up to the school. I'm not going to speak about things that I haven't seen. Right. But I have looked outside a classroom window and noticed, girls walking over to his car. So this was something that was set up that people were excited about. Teenagers in the school. That's where you attract kids at school. Okay, so the teachers weren't coming out the class to meet him. But, students knew what was going on. They went down there to meet him because obviously he came to be seen. So he didn't have to go find people. Right. I just want to be clear about that.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. So he was an adult coming to the school, an adult of major celebrity status coming to the school. Yeah. And I think it may have started out as, hey, this is just his hometown. So people don't want to look at it as he's trying to manipulate, corner, and do criminal things with children. Right. I think it was more so just looked at as, oh, he's here again. Okay.
Wow. It became a norm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And for the longest time, it's been a long history of sexual abuse and pedophilia just in our own communities. And speaking of culture, as far as in the black community, I believe that we've seen it or have experienced it, like you said, just growing up, and we just it was this unspoken, spoken thing that you seen, but it was just like, okay, I seen this young teenage girl, riding off into the sunset with this college dude or this older man, and it's not your parent, or your uncle or, something like that. And it's just kind of like, it's just been kind of like that.
So you've seen it a lot.
Yeah, I've seen it. If anyone knows, I'm from Orangeburg, so going in high schools, you would see high schoolers, being in close quarters with teachers, administrators, things like that, and it was just a known, and nobody really stood up, nobody really said anything because it was just a spoken, unspoken thing. It was like this code of silence in regards to that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is absolutely. It when you say code of silence, do you think it's more of a you mind your own business and you don't make speculations if you're not sure what's going on, and less of something might be happening, I'm concerned about that, but I'm still not going to say anything? Is it more of the latter or the first thing?
And for us, it was more so like we looked at it an accountability standpoint. Like the girls, of course you knew these people were of age. You go into teachers, you go into coaches, administrators, and things like that. And we saw it more so as people just wanting to not go to class. But if you're doing that damn near almost every day, and you're in a room by yourself with an adult male, that type of thing, it was just kind of like,
In my school, I don't feel like it was a lot of room to wonder. I feel like most of us knew. If we saw those behaviors happening, we knew what it was. Let me just tell you this. What I remember from high school is there were some teachers that were much younger than other teachers, right?
Right.
Or substitutes that would come in. Come on, fresh out of college, substitute teachers would come in, and immediately you would hear the boys like, yeah. You just started it. Yeah. And so you're like, all right, he's making it very clear that he's attracted to this teacher. Or the females, there was so me and some of my friends from elementary school were talking about this the other day, okay? There was a teacher from my elementary school. I went to Morgan Park Academy. I'm put it right out there. I went to Morgan Park Academy in Chicago. And there was a young, 30-something-year-old gym teacher, right? His name was Coach Harris. And I remember Coach Harris was a handsome dude. I was very young when I was there, but I was like, oh, I got a little crush. I was like 9 years old, okay? Right. So there were a lot of high school girls that I would notice after school. He was coaching basketball and some other things. I don't remember exactly what, but they always were close on him in proximity. Right. And he liked it. He was always smiling and laughing, and it seemed like trying to make them laugh. Right. So I could tell at a young age he was intrigued by the girls. Wow. At the school, right? So, come to find out, I guess within a couple years, he was just doing a lot of hugging, a lot of side hugging, but very close, and it was just strong hugging, side hugging. And I remember at a young age, he had hugged me, and I just felt so uncomfortable with the hug that I went home and told my daddy. I told my parents. I told my parents. Yeah. Well, Coach Harris hugged me. And so we're all talking on Instagram Messenger the other day, and articles start coming up of him that he went to court, right? He was accused of basically taking a girl home from school, and I think either, I don't know if it was really molesting her or just being sexually inappropriate. I don't know what they call that specific term, but he was accused of that, and I was not shocked at all. And in fact, it brings me to the point that we discussed earlier off the show of why are parents so trustworthy of teachers, coaches, and adults that they don't really know well, taking their kids home or putting them in their vehicles. And I do not understand that. Maybe you can give, your idea on what would possess a parent to say, oh yeah, that's okay. Coach such and such, who's opposite sex than you and 15 years older than you, can bring you home in his car.
And I think my thought is, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because I do want you guys to communicate and converse along this live as well. But for some, it could be, okay, this person is placed in a position of trust.
So that automatically means they're trustworthy?
No. I'm just saying that they're placed in a position of trust. Your child is with this particular person majority of their day. Just like when you go to the doctor, you trust that doctor to tell you the right thing. You go to your gynecologist, you don't want to assume that the gynecologist that's examining you getting off on that. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of very similar. You're placing this person in a position of trust and authority.
And power with your child.
Power. Right.
That's what you're doing.
So it's an automatic assumption until it's shown otherwise. And even in some cases when it's shown...
Until they molest your kid.
Right.
Until it's shown otherwise.
Yes.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is...
Huge problem.
I have a major issue with parents entrusting teachers and coaches to their children. And let me just say this. Let's get to the statistics here, because I don't want to just talk aimlessly, all right?
Yes.
Let's talk about perpetrators, all right? Sexual perpetrators against children. More than 90% are men, okay? And that's partly because the sexual abuse is not as reported. Right. By men, okay? Right. Women abusing them. It's not as reported, so give or take a few percentage. Then we have 50% are acquaintances of your kids.
Right.
The friends, parents, fathers, mothers, okay? Teachers, coaches. Yes. Who else? Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout troop leaders.
Priests.
Priests. All right. I mean, we can go everywhere.
On and on with that.
50% of the individuals who are sexually abusing these children are their acquaintances. Okay? And then 7 to 25% are strangers. So what this says to me is it's more likely to be their damn teacher than a stranger on the street.
Right.
That's what that means, okay? I hope you hear that, you parents out there, that a perpetrator for sexual abuse against your children is more likely, probably more than 30% likely, to be their teacher or their coach rather than some random person on the street.
Yes.
Which means they're more at risk in the classroom than they are standing outside the school.
Which is crazy.
I mean, I didn't just think about that till just now.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So you all need to start reprocessing who you trust with your kids and your rationale behind who you let.
And like we was talking about prior to the show, we talked about, students having access to their teachers outside of the classroom. By phone, text message, phone calls, all of those things. That when I was in school, I didn't have...
Objection.
Leave it alone, Jackie. We was in a serious conversation right now.
It's okay. Okay, go ahead.
But just like having access to your teacher outside the classroom after school is done with, you still feel like it's okay to kind of touch and reach out to your teacher via text message. We used to have to wait till the next day. If you missed something, you just missed it.
You should have to wait to the next day because telephones invite boundary crossing.
Yes,
absolutely. I believe a teacher giving any underage person their personal phone number and not the school number, or let's say their email address. You even got to be careful a little bit with email, but I would say email is a little safer. But you're giving your phone number, your personal phone number.
Most of these kids have their own phones.
And then parents allowing their kids to tell them things such as, I'm just going to call my teacher, or I'm just going to text my teacher.
Right.
I just don't understand what you parents are thinking. I don't get it. You're not protecting your child well enough.
Right.
You have to look beyond what's convenient for your parental status at the moment, right?
Yes.
Oh, I've got to work, or I've got to do this. This is her way. She's got to keep in contact with somebody she knows. I don't want to. You're just opening way too big of a door there, right?
And I do see the comments. At least we're definitely going to touch on those things that you have mentioned. We're definitely going to touch on those things as well, as far as the questions, the whys, and we're definitely going to dig into that. So definitely stay tuned. If you guys are following the live feed, definitely look at those questions. If it's bringing something to your attention, then definitely shoot us a comment, or you can inbox, or whatever the case may be. We can address those questions here on the live as well. Another stat, since we're talking about stats, it says 60% of black girls have experienced sexual abuse at the hands of black men before reaching the age of 18, which is crazy. 60%? Wow. Like over half. Like, that's crazy.
You know what it says to me? Hold on. I know that you want to just read, but I got to speak. This is a sensitive topic, so I got to speak on everything.
Yes,
you know what it says to me? This is like, it says to me that we're not protecting our children.
Yeah.
We're not protecting them.
Yeah.
And let me just be clear, because when that is said, I told you, I was raised in a sheltered situation.
Right.
And I questioned it at the time, but now I understand. I understand that my parents knew that I was a little too delicate to report everything to them.
Right.
To protect myself in every situation. I could, I was like $115 in high school. I was 115 pounds. I was 5 feet tall. They did not trust that if they let me go places alone, I would be able to physically protect myself or protect myself against a predator or to fend a predator off. So I wasn't allowed in certain social situations. A lot of parents, and I'm sorry, I was watching like the documentary thing, a lot of parents were saying, oh, she was going here or they were doing this. There was none of that in my house. My parents always knew where I was, and honestly, I had one of those mamas. I was too fearful. I was way too fearful to be cut up. I didn't want to have to face my mama. No, there are some mothers still like that. And I'm glad that I had that. But I don't understand how we allow these type of statistics to happen. Because I wasn't raised in a house where that could easily happen. So it's a little harder for me.
And the crazy thing is, even in a lot of cases, even when it does happen and the victim or the child comes to a trustworthy authority figure like a parent, we become so accustomed to not believing the child when they say something about it, which means that they're going to automatically shut down, and they just assume that it may be
okay. Let me speak on that.
Yes,
I got something to say.
Do.
This is good.
Please do. I'm
going to interrupt the whole show.
Please do.
Okay, so let me just be very clear. This is a professional opinion, and this is a personal opinion.
Okay.
When you say some things aren't reported by parents, or they kind of scathe over things. Let's go to Stephanie's comment. She said, Jackie, you need to explain what protecting your children is. Let me be very clear. If you are a parent watching this, and please share this right now because more parents need to hear this.
Right.
If you are a parent watching this, it is your job and your legal duty to report, meaning calling the police, if your child tells you that someone has caused sexual harm to them, physical harm to them, you have to report it.
Right.
Okay? It is the authority's job to figure out whether that actually happened.
Right.
Do not come to me in the inbox asking, what if she says this and I don't know what to do about it? I'm going to tell you the same damn thing every time.
Right.
You need to report it. I would never, ever want to be a parent who 15 years later finds out from my kid, I told you something, you ignored it, and I was harmed. This is happening all the time, though.
And guess what? They end up coming up to our office. I can tell you, let's just say, for example, if I'm seeing 20 women, grown women, I can almost guarantee you that the stat that I gave you, that over half of them that are dealing with some type of anxiety, post-trauma, depression, they will mention at some point in time in their childhood they were either molested are abused.
Sure.
And it's usually by a neighbor, an uncle, and it's kind of like they just sweep it up on the road. Oh yeah, that happened. You know, but I still don't understand why I'm depressed or why I struggle with maintaining successful relationships. Why do I have this guard up?
Okay.
Why everything is kind of the way it is. You know, and it's usually pointing directly back at that. Well, which is very sad. And in our community, we've gotten accustomed to, you know, hushing, and, you know, this is kind of like one of those things that kind of, you don't want to bring that negative image to your family, so you don't talk about it, and it often impacts that particular person as a victim, as well as they're growing up. It's going to be passed down from generation to generation in regards to how you handle things. And, you know, we in my age, we kind of grew up, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house, so if something happened, we gonna talk about it. But, you know, meanwhile, the next door neighbor is the one that's the actual perpetrator.
Now, we had, so this is a black community thing, all right? So let's just put it out there. So we've got this thing, and I remember I posted on Facebook like a month ago, I said, what you're teaching your children in your home as far as what happens here stays here, they don't just adopt that as in their home.
Right.
They adopt it as a mentality.
Yes.
So let me just be clear. What you're teaching your child is if somebody sexually perpetrates you, you need to keep that to yourself. That's what you're teaching them.
Yes,
so let's just be clear. Do not look for someone else to be the problem. It starts with what you're teaching your children in the home. That's number one. Number two, I spoke about my upbringing and about how sheltered it was. There is the opposite situation where, you know, there are grown friends of mine who have admitted outwardly, hey, I was doing this with grown men when I was a teenager. People knew about it. My parents didn't know. And I was telling you what? That these individuals were stellar students. They did everything they were supposed to do in school because they knew if I focus on what my parents expect me to do, they will not question me about the things I'm not supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Why? Because they take for granted that you can be doing those things. And so that is just numero uno with that.
Right.
You want to know what your children are doing. You want to pop up on them. You want to stop saying, I know where they are. You don't always know where they are. I fooled my parents a couple times. And the only reason I'm saying it is because they know now. Because I was one of those confessing kids where I actually wound up telling them. When I became grown, I was like, yeah, you remember that time I said I was going to such and such's house? So, I was one of those kids who I knew they would just assume I wasn't doing anything. But when they found out that there were those moments, they got tighter with me about what I could and couldn't do. They just happened to be really about their parental business. Now, there are a lot of, I told you earlier, there were going to be a lot of comments like, hey, I was raised by a single mother, this, that, and whatever. But there are other ways to keep boundaries on your kids, especially even now. With all these GPS trackers and everything else. And all the individuals you know that could be helping you with just knowing where your kid is, there are ways to know. I don't believe it's an excuse we can use 20 years after our childhood.
Absolutely. And it's been that long. So, and we're definitely going to continue this conversation, this discussion, but I also wanted to shed light on another aspect of sexual abuse and pedophilia, and that's in regards to boys. We don't get as much highlight or discussion in regards to sexual abuse that little boys experience. Besides, outside of, you know, the Catholic Church
and not just that little boys, teenagers too,
and teenagers as well. And a lot of it can come from various aspects, and that could be because of the criminal system, and, you know, kids getting in trouble early, they end up at a group home, and these types of behaviors are being exhibited in group homes. Right. You know, boys are being, you know, gang raped in group homes. Like, it's a lot, and it's very hurtful. And 1 out of 6 black men, you know, report childhood sexual abuse, and that's just the ones that are reporting it. And I'm pretty sure it's a pretty large number that have been sexually abused, but due to the stigma associated with a boy being raped or molested, it's associated with him being gay or having some type of issue with as far as his sexual orientation, which has nothing to do with it. But, you know, there are stories that say otherwise. But, you know, but that's a big thing. Okay. You know, when you're talking about priests, you're talking about recent reports of African Bambaataa. Teachers, all those things. And, you know, just, it's very difficult for me, you guys, as you guys can tell, it is a very difficult subject for me because this is a bias that I have as a therapist. I'm usually open and transparent as far as who I will see and who I won't see. But I'm going to tell you, anyone that has any issues with pedophilia, any dude comes to me and asks me about counseling because they have an issue or an attraction to young kids, I'm going to point them. See you. I'm going to point them that way. Because I can't. I have sisters. I can't either. I don't do it either. No. Let me just say it's an us issue and it's not a you issue. Right. I do not see nan pedophile. I will see name sexual perpetrator. I won't do it because I can't handle it because my personal feelings are too strong. Right. And therapists need to do that. They have to denounce what they can't deal with, okay? Because that's the only way we can help somebody else when we help ourselves to know what we can and can't deal with. Yes. I want to speak about the black males because we talked about my high school situation. I posted an article the other day from my high school. There was a teacher named Mr. Lennon at my high school, and he ran the concert choir. He was one of the most popular choir directors in the city of Chicago and beyond. He was known for his musical expertise. He had, at any one particular time, I think maybe 115, if not more, kids in his choir per year. I was one of them. Both of my brothers were in the choir, meaning our parents all entrusted this man with our care. We traveled with the choir and him. He was the sole organizer behind it because it was his choir. And then he had parental chaperones even on the trip. However, there were things going on that I didn't understand when I was in high school. Like some of my male friends, at least 2 of them were able to drive his car on occasion. The driving of the car always happened where you could see it, like around the school, or they're picking up and dropping off things that the choir needed, right? Like, go to pick up these speakers. I went to help him pick up these speakers. I went to grab food for the after-school people. A lot of that, right? So on the surface, it looks harmless, right? But if you think about it, it's grooming, right? He was grooming boys. Yes. And no one looked at it as that. Yes. A lot of the parents of these boys were single. So for those of you chiming in about single parents, a lot of those boys' parents were single parents. But perpetrators know that. And he falls into that 50% of the individuals that the boys knew. And so he knew that he could get them. And so I find out a few years after leaving high school that there were sexual relationships going on between him, over 50 at the time, I believe, and some students who are under 17. And then after college, I found out that there were charges. And he is a registered sex offender who was caught outside of his jurisdiction the other day, and an article was made. And my son's godmother went to high school with me, and she sent me the article, and I was still stunned by it. Just seeing his face, knowing that my parents sent me across state lines everywhere with him, right? And more than 100 kids at the same time. I mean, he was really at it. He was really putting on a show. And so now, of course, he can never work with kids again. I have no idea what he's doing now, but, you know, there's a special place that I believe for people like that, but I can't get over it. My parents, we've been talking about it. They can't believe it. They feel almost weird about the fact that there's a trust there. Now, they never trusted us to get a ride home. They never said, we'll allow you to have a ride home from these teachers that we trust. But, I mean, hey, this was a group trip with 100 kids. Why are you going to think your class trip will result in your child being abused? And these were boys. So, they were all boys. Teenage boys. It's been going on for a while. R. Kelly and Bill Cosby is not the first
we didn't even get to...
you know, I'm not even going to really touch on it.
We didn't even really get to that. But we're talking talking about it in theory, though.
Yeah, we're talking about it, and you know, I've been seeing the debates on my timeline since last week.
I'm ignoring them.
You know,
I'm ignoring them.
But a lot of what you guys are feeling and what we're discussing, this has been an ongoing conversation for a while, and it's probably someone that you know or yourself have been sexually abused. It's been a lot. The benefit that I've seen recently is a lot of people are actually forthcoming in stating that they've been sexually molested when they were a child, and when I saw it, when I read it, I'm like, okay, that really explains like their behavior, whether they were really cold, whether they were really mean, whether they always got in fights, whether they were very promiscuous. You know, it was a lot of different things, and a lot of people respond to sexual abuse differently. You're either going to become a shell of yourself, or you're going to act it out. You know, whether that's you just being very sexually active, or getting into trouble, fights, whatever the case may be. But it was very comforting, and those people that did come out and say something, I definitely come in and I appreciated their honesty and their transparency in regards to that, and helping them get their power back, because that's what it does when you're abused. Like your power, you feel like your power is taken away, and that person kind of owns that or controlling you of some sort. And I appreciate this comment as well by my sister Stephanie.
I was going to respond to that.
She says, young men being sexually abused by another woman is looked at as a badge of honor, and that may be one of the reasons why it's not reported. I agree with that.
Well, I wanted to respond to it, but you've been talking a long time.
Go ahead.
You know I'm dying inside. Today is just one of those days.
Yes.
This goes back to what Brandon was saying. Do you remember when we all met a couple weeks ago? And for those of you who saw the Sex and Relationship show with psychologist Brandon Risher, he was talking about sex and relationships. So what Brandon said was what? He was talking about how women versus men are taught to look at sex when they start having it. Right. Let's just be clear. Us women know what we were taught about sex. A lot of us, right? Is that your body is sacred. You need to be careful who you give it to and all that. And careful, sacred. But he was saying the mind of a teenage boy is, what can I conquer? Who can I conquer? Who's going to get it? Who am I going to give it to? And how good it's going to be when I give it. Right. And it's not about him being involved emotionally in that experience. So that has a lot to do with it. Emotion is tied to communication and the urges to want to discuss things, right? But men socially are gifted with the non-emotional. Men are emotional, by the way, but they are gifted with this social badge of non-emotion. It's almost like you're expected to wear this.
And I had this conversation last week with someone where I talked about growing up. You know, when a young guy starts having sex for the first time, whether it's, you know, you're a teenager or whatever the case may be, that is usually your end game for developing relationships with a female. Is to have sex. And like my sister said, it's seen as a badge of honor, so we feel like that's the only thing that we can really give. That's the only thing that we have to offer a female is our penis. Growing up. Until you kind of like, seriously, that's it. So however we get it, whether it's forced upon us by an older woman or a classmate or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, that's what we were groomed to think. That's all we could offer is the sexual part, not emotional attachment, not the vulnerability, not the transparency, not developing an actual positive relationship with someone. It was always assumed. If I'm talking to a female, my end game is to hopefully have sex with her. And that's just part of that conditioning that we've had, you know, growing up. You know, wherever you grew up at. But in Orangeburg, you know, we either had, you know, sports, sex, you know, go to a couple pool halls, parties. But at a party, you go to a party and you're trying to link up with someone to hopefully have sex.
So hopefully my mother sees this at some point. Mom, I appreciate you. Thank you for keeping me away from the sex part of that for as long as you could. God bless you. going to get into when that ended. But basically, I was away from it for a long time. I was in sports and I was at home. And my parents were real good. My dad was very adamant. Now, my dad worked very hard. However, he made sure he knew when practice ended. And I was one of those kids in practice all the time. In volleyball practice, in basketball practice, at track practice, at choir practice. I was always in something every season. So my dad said, what time does practice get out? If I had messed up the time, he'd be pissed. You know why? Because he'd be wondering, number one, what was I doing in the time that he was late to arrive? He never wanted me lurking around the school or with a 30-minute window to get in trouble. He never wanted me to have that. I knew as soon as I looked out the window, my father would be sitting there. So I'm sorry, but he's just one of those parents that made sure there were no cracks there. My mom was still at work. But my dad did do that. There was no room for messing up for me. There just wasn't. Now, my brothers, I think that was something different. I was a girl, so I believe that I was treated a little bit differently. But my brother also got picked up from practices. But when he would tell my parents, hey, I'm going to do something different after school or whatever, it was a little easier of a conversation, probably because he was a boy. But there was none of that for me. None of it. I can't empathize.
So I definitely want to kind of, I guess, maybe put some rhetorical questions out there for you guys to think about to the next time we see you guys. Or even if y'all have some comments or questions or concerns or, you know, whatever the case may be outside or past this live, definitely you can reach out to us, you know, via the website, 704thecouch704.com, inbox us, DM, however you want to do that. But I wanted to ask my family, the people that I love, you, Jackie, as well. I'm not putting you on the outside.
The people I care about.
And
and Jackie.
Right. So, but why do we keep these things quiet until it kind of like blows up in our face, and then we want to have this, you know, this kumbaya, and everybody want to talk about it now.
Okay, wait. When you say keep it quiet, define what you mean. Are you saying not telling your parents, not telling your friends? What are you saying?
It goes for all levels. It goes for the victim keeping it quiet. It goes to the family that's keeping it quiet and wanting to keep it within the family. Or when we know that someone is a predator, we're quiet about it. We just know it and we just trying to avoid that particular person. Why?
Okay.
Why do we keep it quiet? Let
me just say this. When everyone keeps saying this and asking this question, I'm giving you my personal opinion because that's what we do up in here. So for all the viewers who want me to answer this question a certain way, I can't do it. This is too general, okay? So let me just be clear. Families keeping things in the family, if you mean someone perpetrated someone and the family chose not to tell the authorities, that's one thing, right? I mean, not telling could be a bunch of different things. The other reason a family would keep it in the family is if they dealt with it, they feel in the family. It depends on the level, okay? Because let me just be clear. I wouldn't say if there's a family and an older person in the family touched a younger person inappropriately, but it wasn't sexual violation in nature, right? Like a little bit too much of the rubbing on the shoulder.
Hold on, but before, put a pause on that thought for a second. First of all, parents, and we all have to understand what the definition of sexual abuse is. It's not always going to be vaginal, anal, or oral, but it could be that fondling. It could be sexual orientated type of conversations that you're having with a younger child. It could be fondling. It could be those hugs. It could be that grooming that you was talking about. That's still considered sexual abuse. What are we going to do? We're going to wait till it actually happens and say, no, you're not going to do that? Or, you know,
are you talking to me or are you just talking?
We're talking.
Oh, okay, because I didn't even get to what I had to say.
So, but again, just understand the definition of sexual abuse, and that attraction starts way before that any types of penetration happens. You know, we start getting those extra gifts and that extra, a little bit extra. You know, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just had to
look. I'm not gonna give a popular answer to this because I don't agree with whatever the popular opinion could be. I don't know what the popular opinion it is, because most people aren't answering this question out loud, just like we're not talking about certain things. But if you say, why are we not talking about it? It's one thing for the family to deal, like a man in the family to go to another man in the family and say, hey, such and such informed us that you spoke these words to her, or you said certain things. Let me tell you where your place is. This is what you won't do. This is what will never happen again. I believe that is talking about it. That is dealing with it. I'm sorry, you can't press a charge there. There's no charge that can be pressed based on conversation. There's no charge that can be pressed without evidence. So if you all are looking for police involvement in sexual abuse situations, it's not always going to be as easy, okay? Because like Damion said, a lot of that is under the umbrella of abuse, but you can't prove all of that. But telling someone in your family is definitely different. I had a situation where I was younger, a very young teenager. I came to my parents about something that was somewhat minute, but I knew was inappropriate. It was somewhat minute. I'm not scarred by it. It was somewhat inappropriate, though. And I had enough home training by my parents to know that. And I was fearful of my parents and discipline-wise, but I always knew I could tell them. I ran right up to my parents' room, told them exactly what happened. My father said, I'll be back. He went, addressed the issue head on, and I didn't see that person till I was a grown adult. Because that person wasn't even allowed to set foot in the house again. So I'm just making it clear. That was not a reporting type situation for authorities. That was a reporting to the head of your household to let them know there's something they need to deal with that is a little borderline completely inappropriate. So I'm throwing it out there. It's a little bit of self-disclosure, but this is a real conversation that's happening all over the place. And some of y'all families, and you're turning a blind eye to it. Other families, you act like you don't know what's happening, or somebody has said something to you. But I want to revisit before I forget to say it again, that if you are a parent and your child has conveyed any kind of inappropriate touching by any adult, that is not your job, in my personal or professional opinion, to decipher. You report that, and you allow investigators to take control over that. You do not want to live with the guilt, believe me, of knowing something happened and turning your cheek to it. And you don't want to deal with the resentment that child is going to have towards you for the rest of their life.
And it's kind of like in our profession when a child mentions something about harming themselves, or wish they were not here, or wish they would die. I take those things very seriously.
Everything is serious, even the threats.
Everything. So definitely that process of empowering our children, as well as the parents, to tackle these issues, and with the understanding that it is serious, and it's we have to make sure that we're actually talking about this with our kids on a regular basis. Check in with your kids. We've always preached that. Make sure you know your child. So when there's a change in their behavior, as far as things that you would notice, if someone is being abused, there's usually some type of shift in their behavior, whether that's depression, anxiety, some suicide attempts, eating disorders come out of that, sleep disorders, they're not able to sleep. It's some type of change, low self-esteem, drug abuse, alcoholism.
Well, and then remember, sometimes they're not making visible changes. Sometimes they're in a routine when they're perfect, and they're in their routine, and they know my daddy's working. He's never going to pop up on me. They know my mama's working. She's not concerned about me. I got straight A's. My mom talks to my teacher. I can do whatever the hell I want. I mean, honestly, I have heard so many of those conversations from adults now who were running around as teenagers sleeping with grown men. They knew what their parents were going to be doing. They knew where their parents were and what they expected.
Do some of those people have fully functioning, lives? Are they?
Oh yeah, with kids, and seem healthy, but we have to be clear in what we say to our viewers, that a lot of things appear normal and happy all the time.
You can put that appearance out there, but for so long, eventually that disconnect, what you're projecting and what you're feeling inside, it's going to come out. It's going to show its ugly face at the least possible moment. It's just going to come out there.
Let me say something else too. And this is going to be, this is uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable.
Go ahead.
It's uncomfortable. Parents of kids of the opposite sex. Oh, I left her with her brother to babysit. Oh, I left him with his sister. Due to the fact that we can revisit that 50% of the sexual perpetrators already know your children.
Right.
And only 7 to 25% are strangers. You need to put together the percentage in your head that is family.
Right.
Because most of your kids only really know family and the kids at school, right? And so, ring the alarm. I've been doing this too long. Why you do that? This is serious.
Okay.
Okay, listen. Some of the siblings are violating their siblings, okay?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
11-year-old boy entrusted with his 6-year-old sister. That's not always just him watching his sister.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to speak too much more on that. But
when
that's
is it
happening.
the appropriate
That's
time
happening.
to make sure that they're taking separate baths, things like that, and dressing together.
Damion,
and,
this is the way I feel. I know people are not going to like this. When they can talk, when they can have conversation, they should be taking separate baths.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop putting your 2 5-year-olds of different sex or your 10-year-old and your 3-year-old of different sex in the bathtub together to save water.
Right.
I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't understand why you're trying to save water that way. I don't know. You know that's what they say. Oh, it's so much water. I mean, I don't know. Listen, it's when it's opposite sex and they're in the bathtub together past a certain age, even same sex in the bathtub. I know our parents' school of thought might have been a little different, a little more old school with like, hey, everybody just, like 2 kids just get in the bathtub at once or whatever. Yeah. I would say after 3 years old, kids shouldn't be in the bath together. Stop it. Stop putting your kids in the bath together where they see each other naked and they recognize genitalia on each other and they want to touch it and kind of see what's going to happen. And when they do touch it, they feel a sensation. And that starts early childhood molestation and masturbation behaviors. Yeah. Okay? I was trained in play therapy, and seeing a 3-year-old that knows every part of the body and will undress a doll within 5 minutes is a red flag for me.
Absolutely.
If your 3-4-year-old is undressing a doll immediately upon picking them up, and you've been leaving them with a babysitter, or somebody in your family.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I'm serious, though. No. Not at all.
You know what I mean. Finish it for me. I can't.
Please separate them. Please, so we don't have these issues. Please.
We need to, this is so serious, and we gotta stop skating over shit. I'm so tired of it. It's out there, it's everywhere. Your next door neighbor, they leaving their kids, they leaving a 12-year-old with a 3-year-old girl, a 12-year-old boy with a 3-year-old girl. It's happening often. That 12-year-old boy is hormonal. He may not be looking to be a sexual perpetrator, but he's curious.
Yes.
You're leaving your kids at home alone and they are curious. Leave them with an adult.
Absolutely.
Get a new job. The type of job where you don't have to leave your kids. I'm just saying, the child's mind is not that of a developed adult.
Right.
They're not trying to perpetrate or cause harm.
Right.
But they are trying to satisfy their own selfish needs.
Right.
And if you as a parent don't understand that children of a certain age are driven by selfish needs, what are you doing?
Right.
Parenting.
Right.
They have selfish needs, and they will satisfy them. And that could be at the risk of your younger female child.
And again,
or your younger male child.
And they don't start out as perpetrators, but that particular arousal that they get that inquisitive spirit that they have, eventually they continue to do it until it becomes a pattern.
And if it's not their sibling, it's going to be somebody else.
Exactly. So please, let's intervene. Let's parent.
I have a whole... Maybe
next. Hey, this is just part one.
Okay, because I'm like...
We got to continue this conversation.
We have to.
Because I have probably about 3 or 4 pages full of notes over here.
Damion, let me show
I am the note taker. Why is she going to put me on spots like this?
Because this is what I tried to tell y'all the last time. Look what I got to deal with. Damion developed a manual. This is so efficient, and I applaud you. I'm not doing this. But I think... This is bullshit. I think this is great. This is good information. You got another sound effect. This is good. There's a lot of information here. We want to share more information. As we stated, we're gonna tackle some of these issues in the next session. I guess this is like a session. So in the next session that we have, we need to keep going with this. We have more statistics and things we need to discuss.
Absolutely.
Tactics for how to deal with these type of situations, how to prevent them, the R. Kelly stuff, all that. But I hope you guys gain some insightful information.
Right.
Let's summarize it a little bit.
Well, I mean, sexual abuse, you know, we paint this picture of sexual abuse as just rape, but that's just one part of it, and that's a small part of it. But molestation is a huge thing. Pedophilia is a form of sexual abuse. It is. And, you know, like seeing these teenage girls that want to be grown, and I don't know what's in the food, but they're overly developed physically, but mentally they're not there. And I just don't understand what an older person would actually have to talk about with 13, 14. We don't have nothing to talk about.
To me, absolutely nothing. But.
You know? But we have to be able to talk about these things, these tough topics, in order to reduce the shame that's associated with sexual abuse. If you've been abused, reach out to someone. Putting it in the back of your mind and saying that it didn't affect me, it's going to come out in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
In some of your relationships, if not all of them at some point.
Exactly. And it's going to affect you, not only you, but everyone that comes in contact with you. I'm a strong believer in vibes and energy, and that energy that you carry around. You can't mask it but for so long. You can only put a makeup but for so long. It's going to run down, and we're going to see you naked. And that's naked, not physically, but just naked. Like
sometimes I tune out very briefly, and when I tune back in, raw emotions, seeing the person for who they are. All right.
And that's usually what that shame is about. They don't want the people to see who they really are and what they've really experienced. But part of getting your power back and learning how to cope with being sexually abused in the past is acknowledging it, accept it. It happened. It's a part of you. It's not you. It's a part of you. And be able to talk about it. So, again, can we talk?
Okay.
We can talk.
There's that. We've got that. We've got the Jackie Says, which is going to start next week. We'll start Jackie Says, where you can send questions to the website. We will post that on the page, and I will.
And we won't say it's coming from you. It'll be anonymous. So if you're worried about that, we'll protect.
Yeah, on the website. So that's better than sending an inbox message. If you want it to be anonymous, you just go straight to the website and you post your question. You know, put your question in, email it to us, and I will respond to it. And a little segment, few minutes spill out of it, where I give my personal and professional opinion.
And we will post the questions.
Okay, we can post the questions, so everybody knows.
Can see it,
And then you were the king of piggyback, by the way. So I'm like, So then we've got that. Then we've got Mondays at 2, right? The TuneIn app, Power 104.4.
Please download the TuneIn app. Just please. Go ahead, Jackie. I'm sorry.
The statement.
Go ahead.
Oh my God. Okay. So where are the sound effects?
You got them. You got it. Oh, you want the cat? Okay. I don't got the cat.
Okay. Well, anyway, I don't want
I can get the cat.
I don't want to reference the cat. I don't want to talk about that right now. But anyway.
See where you going?
Okay, so Power 104.4 FM on the TuneIn app, Mondays at 2 o'clock. Okay, we've got Jackie Says next week, Wednesday at 6 o'clock on Facebook. Oh, yes. So this episode, you're not going to be able to pass around on Facebook anymore after we're done, okay?
Yes.
You're going to have to go to the website on Friday and share it from there or watch it from there, all right? We're directing traffic to the website now because that's a new thing. We've got tons of information there. And our store is there. Stand up so they can see, please.
Oh, yes.
Again.
Promotion. Yes.
Okay, promotion. Shameless promotion. Yes. So these are our shirts.
And it gives you this type of body too, guys.
Have a seat. Have several.
It allows you to get that 2-pack, not the 6-pack. I only got 2. That's all. But yeah, feels good.
The views of Damion are that of him and him alone.
Hey, we say that every week.
All right, that's it. That's what we got. But it was a good conversation, though.
Yes, and we're going to continue this conversation again next week, guys. We're going to have a special guest, a good colleague of mine, a former Carolina Panther. He'll be in the building discussing mental health, discussing sexual abuse, all of these things. And we have a few more surprises coming in the upcoming weeks as well. So you guys stay tuned. Stay logged in on everything the Couch 704. Check out the website. You know, check us out. Support us so we can do these things each and every week.
Support us and go home and write down a list of all the people you think you trust with your children and reevaluate the list.
Yeah.
Come up with the reasons, write them down. Stop convincing yourself that you're helping your children by sending them under somebody else's comfort.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, you are an accomplice. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week on the couch.
All right, guys. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Couch. Your mental health matters. All those hashtags. Can we talk? The Couch 704. We'll be back next week. Season 2, 2019. All love, brother love here. Everything. It's all about love. So if we're loving everybody, we're gonna talk about this sexual abuse and this pedophilia. Cause I love y'all. All my family. Y'all are my family. You too slow. You too slow.
I killed the value.
You too slow. So again, see you guys next week.
We're about to fight.
Don't forget to check in on Monday. If you miss any of this, it'll be re-aired on Monday at 2 p.m. on the TuneIn app. Download it. It's free. Just search Power 104.4 FM. You know, we'll be there every Monday. Every Wednesday, we'll be here. All right? If y'all got any questions, look us up. Y'all see what I deal with? I created a monster over here, guys. I've created a monster.
That was a little humor.
Wow.
To take us out.
All right, guys. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Here on the couch. It's good seeing y'all. Happy New Year again to everyone in the sound of my voice.
How come you can never get off?
I can't. I love my family.
Say bye like 3 times.
Bye.
Bye.